our next guest, they are a small agency, but with a very big passion. And their work is anything but random. However, their name is That Random Agency. With us now, let's bring in the principal, Lauren Kelly. So great to have you with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Okay, I was on your website and you all look like you have a lot of fun.
Thank you. We do. We really love social. It's a lot of fun.
So tell us more about That Random Agency. First, how did you come up with the name? It's brilliant. It really is.
Of course, yeah. So both my business partner and I have quite a few years of experience in social media agencies throughout Metro Detroit. And one day we were thinking about, there's a dream a lot of us have of one day I'd love to start my own company. I'd love to, build my own service. So we were thinking what would be a really fun name to use. And That Random Agency came to mind because when you talk to a lot of business owners or different clients, they say, oh yeah, some agency helped me with this, or I hired this company. So we wanted to have a little fun with it, and we liked the comedy in the name, so that's where we came up with it.
And so with that, when did you guys start the agency?
Right at the beginning of COVID, actually. So it's a great COVID success story. It's fun to share. We started, and it's a year in May. So happy 1 year to us.
Wow, a happy 1 year to you. But with that, you are starting in the middle of a pandemic. Were you freaked out a little bit in the beginning?
A little bit, yeah. I was actually laid off. I worked at a startup at the time, which you can imagine can be hard in COVID. There's not as much revenue coming in. So I definitely identify with a lot of the small business owners that we help, with social media, and a lot of our clients who are struggling to, find the right messaging to use right now and to drive sales. So we wanted to, really take the leap, and it was definitely a big leap, but it's been a lot of fun, and we've had great success so far. And it just shows the need that a lot of small, medium business owners have to really define what they should do in social media and how it can be successful.
But if I can ask you too, when you're starting up a new business in the middle of the pandemic, we know there are a lot of grants that are being offered to small businesses such as yours, but because you weren't around the year before, it can make it a little bit challenging to
Yeah.
try to get some of that funding. What's that side of the house been like for you?
Yeah, so that's been really interesting. We're fortunate that we're, as a social media agency, I had a lot of resources already available. So computers, that kind of thing, as far as startup money that you need. And now, especially with working from home, that's been a big help of not having to rent office space to begin. There are definitely some grants available, especially in the local community. We haven't used any of those just yet, but they're definitely on our radar. And there are some even through Facebook offer some grants for small businesses and business owners who are starting up right now.
Oh, that's great to hear. And with
Yeah.
that too, can we talk about the importance of social media throughout the pandemic?
Yeah.
Because it it's been so vital to
Mhm.
so many businesses. However, there are a lot of businesses that aren't good at social media.
Yeah. So one of my biggest pieces of advice for in the pandemic and just always for small and medium-sized businesses is to really take a look. It's easy to get caught up in how many followers do you have? How many likes are you getting on every post? Especially with COVID, people have not as much time or have more time than normal, and they spend a lot of time on social. So it's easy to look at the wrong things and just endlessly scroll and compare your business and your success to another company. But I would really encourage all business owners when you're looking at social media to approach it, to align with your overall business goals. So if you're a local, restaurant or a local company, you're going to approach social media entirely differently than if you own an e-commerce business or an Etsy store and you're selling products online. So instead of, trying to have a million followers, just know that that doesn't always equate to sales.
That's such good advice. And one of the other things too, have you found, especially for some of the businesses that maybe they're owners, it's a small business, they've had to lay off people, they're overworked, but yet they're trying to reach the public through social media. How important has it been for them to be authentic throughout this time?
That's a great question. And it's vitally important, especially if you look at Instagram. A lot of people have been critical of the platform and that people aren't as authentic when they present themselves as individuals and as business owners. And people really are starting to see through that now that, customers are social media savvy. If you're not representing yourself and really your true intentions with your company of wanting to provide value, whatever that might be for you, that's one of the biggest things that people are pretty aware of now. So it's important just to be yourself, and people will respond to that even better.
Everyone loves the story.
Yeah.
Especially in the middle of the pandemic, people want to connect with their local businesses, and they do that with a story. Because we can all go on Amazon and just
Yeah.
click, boom. It really is magic. My finger's magical, by the way. It just clicks and then stuff ends up in my front door. But with that too, what else do you think has been changing because of the pandemic that you think is going to stick around? Because I know we're all home more, we're all on the computer so much more than what we were before.
Yeah, I would say one of the big things in the last year is that video content is even more valuable than it has been. It's a big trend in the last 5 years that more and more video is necessary. But I would encourage everyone to think about live video. That's one of the things that's been booming during COVID, and I imagine will stay. Instagram Reels is a new feature, so both short form and long form video. I know YouTube videos, for example, can be intimidating to some business owners. If you're not super savvy or comfortable on video, that can be a lot just to start. So think about short form video and how just for a few minutes or a few seconds, you can be available and show your personality, show your brand on social. That's one thing I think is here to stay.
And so with that, any tips, like what apps do you recommend for people to use?
Yeah, so I would say Instagram is a great one. TikTok obviously has a lot of buzz right now, and it is very popular with a younger demographic. So knowing your audience is really important when you think about which social media channels are best for your business. But there are some apps available in the App Store that can help you create some of that content, add captions to your videos. That's really important too, as people are multitasking at work and looking at social while they're supposed to be in Zoom calls and all of that. Having captions is a great thing and will increase, the amount of people who are actually watching your videos all the way through.
The apps really are amazing,
Yeah.
and they can help spice up so much of your content. I love your website too, where you have random facts.
Mhm.
YouTube has 2 billion users worldwide. It's always funny to me. Back when I was at Channel 70, I used to put my raw video clips up on
Yeah.
a YouTube page. I haven't posted there in years, and I still get like all these subscribers. I'm like, what? I haven't posted it. You could see there's nothing new there.
Yeah.
But also a podcast.
Yeah.
Podcasting is taking off right now.
Absolutely. It's funny in the biz, we like to say, podcasting is the new social media. So it's kind of that shiny, exciting opportunity that a lot of businesses are considering. And we've had a lot of demand even from our clients to help them start a podcast. And one thing I would encourage everyone, if you're thinking about starting a podcast, don't be intimidated by all of the equipment. Sometimes, people think, oh, I need to have a full studio in order to be successful. And you definitely want to use, a professional microphone, but you don't need a full setup when you just get started with the show. I think about what is something unique that you want to share and a story that you want to tell. That's where storytelling again comes in, where people want to identify with you. And podcasting is another great opportunity because you're one-on-one with the listener right in their ears. And it's hard to get that kind of attention these days. Even think about TV commercials and dual screens and all of that. People have a lot of demand on their attention. So if you have an interesting story to tell, I would really suggest looking into that.
With us on the MegaCast, Lauren Kelly. She is the CEO and founder for That Random Agency. It really is quite incredible because you think back for us that started in broadcast back in the day, like 3/4 tape, which long before you. But really, you're looking at what equipment that would cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars is now in your phone.
Mhm.
Apple, it's, you have iMovie. You can make complete movies just here through an app, or, Final Cut Pro is only what, $300.
Mhm.
So it really is incredible, the technology that we have right here on our cell phones. But how do people also navigate a saturated market
Mhm.
to make sure their content is being discovered?
Yeah, so this is an interesting challenge that all brands at every level face, but especially with small business owners, there is a lot of competition in social media. So that's why we always recommend having some paid dollars set aside in your business if you're going to really take on social media to help make sure your content is seen. And unfortunately, it's just sort of a reality with the platforms now that you need to have some paid spend to get the full views of your content. I think it's around 1% of people who actually like your Facebook page will even see your content. So that's another reason why, even if you have 1 million followers, it won't necessarily equate to sales because those people aren't seeing your content. So it doesn't have to be thousands of dollars a month. Obviously, that's great. Facebook would love for you to spend an unlimited amount of money on their platform, but you can get started with strategic spend that supports your business goals, and focus more on that and driving people to your website and growing your email list instead of just your followers in social.
So talk a little bit more about that with the how does it work? Because I do know like I'll post the same thing on the personal page versus the journalist page because and why Facebook still keeps the personal page at 5,000 people is so it's just stupid. Get rid of it. So now you have people with 2 and 3 pages, but you post things one on the journalist and the one on
Yeah.
your regular, and you see it's like on a journalist page, unless you're paying,
Mhm.
people aren't seeing it. It's just buried.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And Facebook made that change a few years ago in pivoting to trying to prioritize content from your family and friends. So as you scroll through your newsfeed, they wanted people to understand and see content from people that they know. And that was a response to a lot of advertising and complaints from people that when you scroll, there's just an ad every other post. So that was one change that they made, to try and adjust for that. And part of that, which stinks for business owners, is that means that their content is seen less and less.
Lauren Kelly with us here on the MegaCast. She's with That Random Agency. Okay, so we've all started hearing about TikTok. It seems Snapchat we're not hearing so much about as much, but we do know college kids and the younger kids use that. They don't really do the all the filters and stuff. They're really like just take the picture in a weird angle and send it with a caption.
Yeah.
So how do you know what the next big thing is going to be? Clubhouse. I'm hearing that. I tried to get in once and I'm like, look, I have too much going on as it is.
Sure. So I would say Clubhouse is definitely the social media app that has the highest buzz right now and is the newest platform. It's funny because in social, it seems like every 6 months there's a new app or a new platform that pops up, and a lot of them usually don't last, or Facebook or Instagram or one of the big three, Twitter, will buy out that platform and just incorporate them into the features. With Clubhouse, actually, Facebook is launching a new feature called Hotline, which is a similar app, kind of a copycat app to Clubhouse. So that indicates, to me that Clubhouse is here to stay if Facebook has invested the resources to copy the features. But Clubhouse is a really interesting option, especially if you're interested in podcasting, but not sure if you want to take the plunge. I would encourage you to give Clubhouse a try. It's an audio only app, and it's all live. Nothing's pre-recorded, and you can have some interesting conversations and interviews and panel discussions with other people locally or, around the world. So it's a fun app that we're learning a lot about too, and exploring, for clients of how the best way you could monetize that.
So with that, Lauren, you just mentioned clients. There are some people like, let's just admit, they shouldn't go it alone
Yeah.
because we also know if you make a mistake and it goes viral, it can take a business
Yep.
years to recover from that. So talk a little bit more about your services.
Of course, yeah. So we offer some social media packages, but as you can imagine, every business is really different, and there's different, business goals of what success looks like for them. So how they make money, how they have sales, whether it's consulting or a restaurant or a real estate agent. There's a lot of different jobs out there and people who need social media help. So most of our, I guess, agreements or packages end up being something custom, right, for the clients. But everyone I would say that we work with, we help them with the content creation piece, which is the biggest, stressful element of social for a lot of business owners, because it can be stressful to know, hey, what should I post today? I'm not sure, do I post for this holiday? How do I incorporate my business so it shows my personality but isn't too salesy, because people don't like that either. So we help create the content and plan it ahead. We use a monthly content calendar, which has been really helpful in reducing some stress for clients, as well as helping define strategy and how to use advertising. There's a lot of ways, that we could partner together.
And people should know too, what you post on Twitter shouldn't be the same thing you post on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. Every platform is different, and you should, really take your content and drive it to meet that platform.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean it's definitely okay, I guess, to post across all channels, but the best practice would be adjusting your messaging for each channel. You won't post the same content on Twitter and LinkedIn and TikTok, so taking that extra time to customize for the platforms will go a long way.
Right. And we should say Hootsuite if you're a
Yeah.
small business. Hootsuite is a very good tool.
Yes, it is. If you can schedule content in advance, that's great. And the one thing to mention too with a content calendar is it doesn't mean there isn't space for real-time posts. If there's something fun that comes up for your business that's happening in real time, make sure you share that. But planning ahead will just remove that stress from your day-to-day, and you can focus on actually driving success for your business.
I remember, so I used to be the PIO for ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and I had to do the social media content for Detroit and Chicago. And
Yeah.
people would be like, "Oh my God, you must spend so much time." I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, I did it like once every 2 weeks and posted it in Hootsuite, and then it just magically appeared at 3 in the morning." They're like, "You were up at 3 in the morning?" Yeah, I didn't get any sleep.
That's what's helpful too in defining your strategy and knowing, here's my strategic approach. This is the type of content that'll support my strategy, and here I can schedule it and be good to go. And then you can look so impressive to all your friends who think you're spending all this time posting on stories, right?
Exactly. Well, Lauren, it's been so fun having with you, and we definitely wish you and your team the best of luck.
Thank
You're
you.
so brave starting up the new agency here in the middle of a pandemic. So, congratulations on your 1 year anniversary.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.